He wasn't possessed. He wasn't crazy. The AllSpark found a new hard drive and chose a human brain. Sam Witwicky didn't ask for this. He touched a splinter of creation, and the universe started writing back. It begins with a souvenir no one washed. Sam's D-Day shirt hangs in his closet like a trophy. Buried in its seams, a sliver of the AllSpark not destroyed, only transformed. The Fallen told us the rule. The cube's power and knowledge cannot be destroyed, only transferred. When the AllSpark shattered, its archives scattered. One shard fell into a boy's life and wrote Cybertronian history into his mind. The result? 3 escalating events, not visions, not dreams. Uploads. Event 1, the frat party. Glyphs bloom across a cake. Sam's hand moves on instinct. External interruption. Alice's voice snaps him out. He laughs it off. Memory. Fogged. Event 2, Astronomy 101. He speed reads a lifetime in seconds, rants about ancient expeditions, fills a board with symbols, and this time snaps out on his own. Memory. Intact. He remembers that something is wrong. Event 3, the dorm. The torrent peaks, walls, skin, air, all become canvas. A table crashes. Another forced interruption. Memory. Broken into fragments. Here's the pattern most people miss. When Sam exits the trance by himself, he remembers. When he's jolted out by a voice. A crash, the recall collapses. It's not selective honesty. It's corrupted right cache. The AllSpark is mid-transfer, and the human operating system crashes. So why didn't Sam tell Optimus? He meets B and Prime between his first and second episodes and says nothing. He stands within arm's reach of the only beings who could help and says nothing. Because the one episode he can recall hasn't happened yet. And the one that did the cake ended on a laugh and a shrug. His brain doesn't flag it as cosmic sabotage. It files it as weird moment at a party. Even later, when Optimus mentions another shard stolen from Nest, Sam stays quiet about the sliver in his dresser. That's a separate rabbit hole why he didn't use it, why he didn't hand it over, and it deserves its own investigation. But about the symbols, he doesn't withhold the truth. He doesn't own it yet. Memory isn't a recording. It's a negotiation. And right now, Sam's mind is bargaining with a god. Then the Decepticons do something the Autobots never would. They weaponize the problem. In the medbay, Scalpel orders a scan. The assistant drills for data, and the feed lights up with the exact symbols Sam's been seeing for days. And something subtle happens in that moment. Part of the AllSpark's archive moves, not deleted, transferred, just as the Fallen said it must. A portion of the overload leaves Sam's cortex and streams into a Decepticon device. His seizures don't return, not because he's healed, but because the buffer is lighter. The mind can breathe again. But the Decepticons aren't surgeons, they're thieves. There's still data left enough that Scalpel wants the brain on a table to rip the rest out physically. That's where hope ends, and Bumblebee kicks the door in. From here to the desert, Sam still references the symbols. They come in waves. They're in my mind, echoes of a partial extraction. He's stable, but not empty. The final fix will not come from a scalpel. It will come from a sacrifice. 2. Everyone remembers the punch that ends a monster. Fewer remember the quiet that rewrites a man. Megatron's blast stops Sam's heart. Paramedics pound his chest. The Matrix dust seeps into his skin, and then he is somewhere else. Call it the inside of the Matrix. Call it the well between sparks. Whatever its name, 6 ancient silhouettes tell him the only truth that matters. The Matrix is not found. It is earned. Here's the part the film implies, and the early adaptations spelled out. Quote, "When Sam returns, the symbols are gone. Why? Because the Matrix absorbed them. The archives recognized their parent Primus's vessel and went home. Think of Sam's mind as an emergency cache. The Decepticons copied some. The Matrix claimed the rest. And the seizures, the rants, the chalk storms, they were never madness. They were migration. When Sam earns the Matrix, truly earns it. With a life laid down, it does what it always does. Stores, protects, and transmits. Knowledge back to Vessel. Power back to Prime. Order back to chaos. And the kid who carried Cybertron's library in a human skull? He gets to be a kid again. After the desert, he never mentions the symbols again. Not in word, not in glance. Early scripts even made Optimus say it outright. Peace letters Hode. They were absorbed into the Matrix. The finished film lets you feel it instead. Here's the full chain, clean and simple. AllSpark shard, to write Cybertron's archives into Sam. Trance episodes to interrupted equals poor recall. Self-released equals full recall. Decepticon scan to offloads a chunk. Symptoms ease. Death and earning the Matrix to remaining data transfers to the true vessel. Aftermath to no more symbols. Not because the story dropped the thread, but because the transfer completed. So we come back to the most human question. Why didn't he tell them? Because that first meeting with Prime happened between a forgotten episode and an awakening. Because he did try to explain to Michaela after the class incident he remembered. Because the moment he finally understands the pattern, the Decepticons take him. If Sam had confessed earlier, would the forest ambush still have happened? Maybe not. Maybe the guard around him tightens. Maybe Optimus lives. But that's the cruelty of this story. The symbols isolated him. They shamed him. They made him think he was losing his mind, and shame is quiet. It doesn't call Optimus. It calls the one person who loves you and says, "Something's wrong with me." And by the time he has language for it, war answers the phone instead. Was it a plot hole or a plan? The AllSpark is an archivist. When the cube shattered, it did what archivists do in a fire. It mirrored the drive. First, onto a nearby host, a human who had already proven he would run through a war to save a stranger. Then, when the vessel of Primus appeared, it consolidated the backup. The visions stop. The boy lives. The Prime rises. No madness. No miracle. Just migration. Finished. If this changed how you see Sam's breakdowns, tell me what you spotted that we missed. A sound cue, a cut, a line,